Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation review. Today I'm taking a look at Alien Dark Descent, and the footage you're seeing is from my PlayStation 5, however it is also available on PlayStation 4. Now, what is Alien's Dark Descent? Well, if you haven't been living under a rock, this has just been released very recently on all platforms really, and it is like a squad based tactical shooter based on the Aliens franchise. Now, this I believe is set just after the events in Alien 3, and it focuses very heavily on the Colonial Marines. You are essentially on a planet, you've crash landed on a planet, Leaf, and you've got to basically deal with a xenomorph infestation. It's the usual thing. You've got the Wayland Company being bad guys, you've got, you know, things going off all over the place. I don't really want to spoil the story, I never do in my reviews. Needless to say, the story's functional, I suppose, but it's not really anything surprising. There's no real surprises here. It's kind of exactly how you expect it to go. But that's fine. I didn't exactly expect a Hollywood-style blockbuster script here with this game or anything like that. It certainly does its job. Now, this game is, on the surface, a few people have asked me, so, is it like XCOM? And I'm like, well, yes and no. And I'll explain what I mean by that is, the game is kind of structured and set up very much like XCOM. What I mean by that is, you've got like your base of operations, which is like on your spaceship that's crash landed. And you've got your usual, in the base of operations, very much like XCOM. You've got like a barracks, you've got a lab, you've got a meds bay, so on and so forth, set up very similar, and you can customize all your Marines. You can make them male, female, change the voice, change their armor setups, all this kind of stuff. You level them up and give them perks. Again, very similar. If you've played XCOM 2 especially, or any of the XCOM games, it will feel very familiar to you before and after missions. The massive change here for this game is it's not turn-based combat. That might sound disappointing to you. Initially, my hope was that this game was going to be turn-based. When I first heard this game announced, you know, several months ago, and I saw the trailer. Because I'm a big fan of the Aliens franchise, I have recently covered and reviewed all the games, all the films, sorry, on the channel. I've reviewed them all. So I am a big fan of the franchise. And I like strategy games, so this is like a game, you know, sent from heaven for someone like me, really. But no, it isn't turn-based, but what they've done is you will go into the missions and be like, there'll be a squad of you, there'll be like about 4 or 5 Marines, generally 4 Marines, and you will kit them out however you want. Early on in the game, you don't really have access to a great deal of kit, just the usual assault rifles and things like that, and handguns, so on and so forth. And you go into the map, and they are quite large maps, and you're given a mission to do, and there are a number of objectives on each mission. And what I really like about this game is the way it structures the game is you don't necessarily have to do them all in any order. Some of the objectives could be, you know, rescue civilians, explore this area to look for parts, because you've got to basically find parts so that you can mend your ship, so on and so forth. You've got to mend everything, so you've got to kind of scavenge for bits and pieces. So you've got to like explore certain areas to kind of rescue people, explore certain areas to loot things, explore certain areas to kind of root out the nest in regards to the xenomorphs. So it gives you like different objectives on each map, and you don't have to do them all in one go, because one thing this game does is you've got to manage the stress levels of your squad as they are faced with combat or head-to-head with these xenomorphs or whatever. Their stress levels will increase. If they get too high, they're basically useless to you, and they will kind of debuff. So you can exit. You can leave the map. You can get back on your ship and be evacuated. Go back to the ship and kind of reevaluate. And next time you go in, everything you did previously on the mission will still be the same. If you looted certain areas, they'll already be looted. If you kind of locked some doors, welded them shut, they'll stay welded. But there's no punishment for leaving the map and coming back. The only real punishment is the soldiers you took in that time round may need either medical attention or rest. So you might have to go in with a different squad of Marines. And once you go back in, then you can kind of knock off some more objectives on that map. Make your way through it, complete all your objectives, and then you're given a new section of the map to explore, and it'll give you different objectives again. Now, what you do essentially with your squad is you will point to a certain area on a map, click square, and your squad will go there. All of them will go there. You don't control them individually. You control them as a squad, as a group. The only thing you could do really when the combat comes, if you know the combat's coming, is you can prepare for it. You can kind of set up suppressive fire. You can chuck grenades. You can chuck flares. It'll increase the accuracy of your soldiers' aim. There's a whole set of like skills that you can use, and more as you unlock them, as you level up your Marines. To assist you in combat, you could put like sentry guns down, as you've seen in the Aliens films. Those are very powerful, and you've got to basically. There are moments in the map where there will be like a swarm of xenomorphs sent out to attack you, because as soon as you're on the map, the idea is to complete your objectives without being spotted by the aliens or trying not to get into combat with the aliens. Sometimes it's completely unavoidable because you'll get the motion tracker going off and you can kind of see where the motion is and avoid them if you don't need to see the creatures. But as soon as they spot you and you open fire on them, then you are immediately, there's like on the top right hand corner of the screen is like a hunted bar, and the creatures, the xenomorphs, will kind of go to the last known location where you were. If you're still there, then that's it basically, and then they will all head to you. But you've got to try and outmaneuver the creatures and try and keep out of combat as much as possible and get through the map with as little combat as you possibly can. And the combat, when you do get it, is pretty tense, exciting stuff, and you can zoom right into the action and see full blown the combat taking place. And it can get tense because some of your soldiers, because permadeath is here, if you lose any of your Marines, then you've lost them for good. If one of them can get carried off by one of the aliens, and if you don't rescue them, then that's it. They'll get a face hug up on them sort of thing, and you've lost that soldier. So you've got to really manage your squad and manage it really as effectively as you possibly can. By using all the tools that you have at your disposal. Now, as you level up your Marines, very much like XCOM, new things will become unlocked, new weapons that you'll be able to unlock with different resources. You can go to the lab and you can get things researched. You can send your Marines to the med bay, get them treated for acid burns, or they might need to rest because they're highly stressed, all that kind of stuff. And then you head back into the missions once again, and it's kind of rinse and repeat. I have to say, I've found this game to be superbly atmospheric. I mean, it really has captured the atmosphere of the Aliens franchise superbly, I think. I think the environments look amazing. I think all the sound effects look amazing. Everything looks as it should. They're very atmospheric, the maps, and it just captures it really. It's almost like a survival horror game in many ways. It can get very, very tense, some of the battles, and it's a superb game that I'm absolutely thoroughly enjoying. I think the only negative I could possibly give this game is the Marines just don't shut up when you're kind of wandering about. You know, you'll click a certain area on the map and then the Marines will say, they'll start yelling things out at each other like "on me, squad on me" or whatever, and it just gets intensely annoying, especially when they're supposed to try to be stealthy and they're bellowing orders out to each other, and it's the same stuff over and over again. I think, you know, that they could have eased off on that a little bit to make it even more immersive. For me, it breaks the immersion when the squad just keep going and they don't shut up. It's a minor gripe, but it's certainly there. I think they've done a tremendous job with this game. I think it's a wonderful addition to the Aliens franchise in regards to certainly gaming anyway. There have been a few hit and misses over the years in regards to games that we have been offered in the Aliens franchise. There's been some really good ones, and there's been some famously poor ones as well. This one, in my opinion, is right up there with the best in the franchise. I'm absolutely loving it. I can't really stop playing it. I'm playing it all the time. You can get loads of content out of this game as well. Many hours of enjoyment, and it's not even a full price game either. It's about $34.99 in the UK, something like that. Definitely worth the money, and it's a game I strongly recommend. It's definitely right up there with my favourite games of the year so far. So I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. If you have, please like the video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And of course, I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very soon.